Let's take the issue of homosexuality in particular. One is something Jesus never talks about, even though gay people existed in the ancient world.
Is it in the Old Testament?
So in the Old Testament, there is a prohibition against men lying with other men.
Right.
And here's the thing, and any biblical scholar will tell you this, in a lot of ways we're dealing with ancient euphemisms. And it's hard to tell what a euphemism means thousands of years later, right? I had a professor at seminary, this is going to sound weird, but he was like, think about 2,000 years from now, how difficult it'll be for people to tell the difference between a butt dial and a booty call, right? Like those are two things that sound very similar on a piece of paper and they have very different meanings. And so
that's funny.
So like in the Hebrew Bible, you do have this prohibition. We're not sure exactly what it means, and if we're taking it just literally, does that mean that we're also we're prohibiting same-sex relationships between women, right? Because that's not prohibited in that particular scripture.
How is it described? So, what is the actual passage?
I mean, that's the one I just gave to you about.
What is the
men.
punishment?
I mean, I think in most of these violations of the law, the punishment, if it's called an abomination, the punishment can sometimes be death. And this is true of eating certain foods, of planting different crops next to each other.
Wearing two different types of cloth.
Sure. And again, I'm not a rabbi, so I hesitate to be able to speak with authority on the Jewish scriptures. But this was a people who had found freedom from slavery in Egypt, and they were trying to be able to set themselves apart from that domination that they knew in Egypt. They wanted a completely new world where God was in charge, not some pharaoh, not some emperor. So this was a radical community they were trying to build. And so they put rules in place to remind themselves that while it may only take a few weeks to get out of an empire, it takes a lifetime to get the empire out of you. So we now, 2,000, 3,000 years later, in terms of the Jewish scriptures, we're now reading it with modern eyes, trying to interpret what they mean and then apply it to our modern context. One, I think that's sloppy theology. Two, I think it's disrespectful to the Jewish people. Three, it's a misunderstanding of Christianity, because the whole idea of Jesus's movement was that he was simplifying the law, right? He simplified it into two commandments, love God and love neighbor. Those are the only two commandments that we Christians should keep our focus on.